Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahmed Ramadan here for GTA Muslims Today for Muslim Network TV. I'm sitting with MP Iqra Khalid, who's going for her fourth term in the Mississauga Erin Mills riding. Iqra, you've been representing Mississauga Erin Mills for a few years now, since 2015. What first brought you into politics and what keeps you going?
Well, when I first moved to Canada, I was 12 years old. And I was so perplexed by our community. It was like, how is it that we can be so different from each other and yet still be one of the most peaceful countries in the world? So I spent a lot of time volunteering, food banks, shelters, the library, art gallery. I used to teach kids how to paint. And so after I came back from law school and I was working in the city of Mississauga, it seemed like a very natural transition for me to go into politics because ultimately it's just about public service.
Oh, that's great. How's the writing changed in the last 9 years? And how has your role changed also or evolved?
Well, I always say that the job of a member of parliament is to take the feedback from our constituents up to Ottawa, not the other way around. And over these past 10 years, not only have we had, an increase in population in our riding, but we've also seen a lot more young people get involved in politics and world issues as well. And I think that's definitely a good thing.
So you've been knocking on a lot of doors recently. What are some of the issues or the top issues that you've been hearing from your constituents?
Well, I think the number one thing that I hear from every single door that I've knocked on is the tariffs that are being imposed by President Trump from the U.S. Another issue that we're seeing again and again is affordability. People just having a really difficult time making ends meet here in Canada. The third issue that I'm hearing is about crime and how we can have our community better protected and kept more safe. And then the last issue that I hear that I'll highlight today is obviously with respect to what is happening in the Middle East with Palestine and Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank.
So when we're speaking about tariffs, how do you feel that the Liberal Party and Mike Carney are going to be able to tackle that issue?
Well, what really gave me a lot of hope was when Prime Minister Carney had his first phone call with President Trump. The response from President Trump was that of respect, where he stopped calling our Prime Minister the governor. He stopped talking about Canada becoming the 51st state and indicated that he is willing to negotiate. And I think that is the reason why Prime Minister Carney is the best choice for Canada right now, because he understands economy. He understands the impact of growing not only from the grassroots, but also from the top down as well. So I think we've had a good response so far, and I look forward to working with our Prime Minister in the future on this.
So as you mentioned, affordability and cost of living are major issues right now. We could see that in the polls, and obviously it's been reflected in the voters that you've been speaking to. How do you see the Liberal Party tackling that issue?
Well, the challenge is not just about lowering the cost of things, grocery items, etc. The challenge is also to make sure that there's a living wage for everyone. What's happening with our labor market right now is that we are converting into a complete gig economy. Our labor laws don't exactly match the energy of our young people that are looking for jobs right now, that are working in the sector. Protections for them, while also ensuring that our markets are competitive, I think is the best approach to ensuring that everybody is able to live and work with dignity, with respect. Obviously, housing is a major part of it as well, where the cost of rent or the costs of mortgages, for example, those are also things that we need to tackle while balancing and understanding that the people that bought their homes here in Mississauga, say 25, 30 years ago, don't want to see the prices of their homes go down. So I think we need to strike that right balance between increasing living wage and making sure that that housing is accessible to everyone here in Mississauga. And I think a lot of those factors will help have people live in dignity and with respect and be able to afford their lifestyles.
Well, another thing you mentioned, which is community safety. There's been a lot of concerns around policing, hate crimes, and public safety in general. What do you feel like the federal government should be doing in order to help communities feel safer?
Well, the role of the federal government is to strengthen our criminal code and the laws. Enforcement of those laws is, according to our Constitution, the role of the provinces. Now, where we have partnered, for example, on auto theft, we have partnered with all levels of government, with insurance companies, with local police in a summit to come up with solutions as to how we're going to really address this issue. And we have seen, as this task force has been created, a really major decrease in auto thefts. I think that our local police need to be really empowered in order to protect us. Just recently, the city of Mississauga and Peel region increased their budget for Peel Police. I think that a little bit more partnership from the provincial government would be really helpful. And one point I'll say, a lot of people seem to think that the bail system is the federal government's responsibility. Now, where we write the laws for how the bail system is supposed to function, the challenge is that our jails are full and our jails are funded by the provincial government. And if they are not investing in the administration of justice, then of course people are going to be let out on bail. Of course people are going to commit further crimes. I really encourage our provincial government and Doug Ford to step up and take a really hard look at how we administer justice in Ontario.
So I'm going to pivot now to more of the international scene. Many Canadians, especially those from diaspora communities, feel that the Canadian policy or the way Canada presents itself is inconsistent with their actions. We continue to maintain relationships with states like Israel, India, China that have grave human rights abuse records. What should Canada's policies be when it comes to these international situations?
Well, I think we should be consistent with how we protect those that really need that protection. We have international treaties, we have international law, the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, which Canada has helped found, which Canada should respect. And I really appreciate that we are moving towards and trying to maintain respect for the decisions that these courts have put into place. I think over these past 10 years, speaking specifically about Gaza, for example, or Palestine, we have been able to not only provide $100 million of humanitarian aid to that region, but also Prime Minister Carney has pledged another $100 million to help with the rebuild. We, through this war, this terrible atrocity that is happening, tens of thousands of people that have died, have really tried to, myself, I tried very hard to do the right thing, to stand for principles, and I think that we need more of that. When we talk about Canada working in the international stage, we are the peacekeepers. We are the facilitators of peace in regions, and I think that we need to do more of that. For myself, I'm banned from China. I'm banned from Russia. India doesn't like me very much, and obviously Israel doesn't like me very much because I have a solid track record of stepping up and standing up for the values that my constituents here in Mississauga, Erin Mills, really believe in.
You've often taken very strong stances, both publicly and with the work and action that you've taken in government about international human rights, often ahead of your party. What are some of the, I would say, hurdles or challenges that you see both within maybe the Liberal Party, but also within the government in general?
Canada is a very diverse country. There's a lots of conflicting opinions here in our country. And that's exactly the same with the Liberal Party of Canada as well. We're a big tent party. There's a diversity of opinion. So sometimes building consensus can be a little bit challenging, but that's what democracy is really all about. It is about building consensus. It's about bringing in different viewpoints and finding the right way to act on what our constituents want. And I really appreciate all the support that I get from my constituents, the advocacy, the lobbying, the criticism, the feedback, all of it, because all of that helps in really building what we collectively as a country want to achieve.
So let's talk about representation, especially when it comes to this upcoming election. There are those that feel that they are not being represented within the government. They're disengaged with elections. What is your message to these people?
You know, the biggest challenge that we are facing right now in Canada is this rise of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech that is really putting off a lot of people from engaging with democracy, with their government institutions, with their elected officials. So my message to you all would be, please engage, get to know your facts, meet the people that represent you in our government, in our parliament, because it's your voice that we are speaking for. So if you remain silent, then we don't know how you're feeling. So please engage.
So you're in a very unique position within government. You are Muslim, you're a Muslim woman, and you're a Muslim woman from Pakistan. So you have unique insights. And what has your role, your job taught you in this last little while about accountability, about resilience, about leadership?
Well, I'll tell you, my job is not easy, but I love doing it. And it's not the most thankful job. It's quite thankless one oftentimes, but my constituents are absolutely phenomenal. And what I bring to the table as a lawyer, as a first generation immigrant, as a woman, a youngish woman now, the gray hair are coming in, I think it really helps define how we govern ourselves as a democracy, because I do represent the lived experiences of a lot of people that are in the exact same boat as I am, having gone through the exact same challenges that they have gone through as well. So I think I'm in a position. I'll give you an example. When I served on the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, I had to go through a top secret security clearance process, and for me, it took about 6 months to get that completed, whereas, some white Caucasian men, it took them 2 weeks, all right? So there are challenges that and institutional discrimination that definitely exists for people like myself, but that's exactly why people like myself need to be in these positions, so we can continue to trailblaze and combat these challenges so our next generation doesn't have to go through them.
So I don't want to pigeonhole, obviously, who you are and just say it's a Muslim woman thing. So I'm going to ask the question in a more general way. What is your advice to those that are looking to get into politics?
Oh, I have so much advice. I have 10 years of experience as an elected official. I will say that first and foremost, it's about believing in your ability to push the needle forward. Politics, government, democracy is a really slow process. The key is to be patient and to always stick to your convictions. At the end of the day, it is your convictions and it is your ability to push that forward, to deliver on those actions, that is going to make you a successful politician, and to never give up. And lastly, I will say, believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, you can't expect other people to believe in you either.
So yesterday we were actually here at your campaign launch. This entire building was full, and there was representation from every community. There was a lot of leaders here from government, other MPs, leaders from the community as well. How did that make you feel to see all that support and just the amount of people that were here supporting you?
It's a really humbling experience. I think the most valuable thing that you can give to anyone is your time. And with, I think we knocked on about 2,500 doors yesterday with the phenomenal team that we had. And it's very, very humbling experience for sure. And a little bit scary too, because that, a lot of people are counting on you to do the right thing, to be the right thing. I get a lot of young girls will come up to me and say, Iqra, you're my role model. And that's a little bit terrifying, because I want to always be able to do the right thing for my community. So it's humbling and it's scary.
For those that are in your riding that are looking to vote, why would you or what is your message to them to vote for you or to vote for your campaign?
Well, I'm a person of experience. I'm a person who has stood by my community for the past 10 years. And I think now is the proper time to have somebody who's got experience to be able to deliver for our constituents in this really challenging time.
Well, Iqra, thank you so much for joining us today. I know election times are very busy, so you're very generous with your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I really appreciate this Muslim Network TV and all of the phenomenal education work that you do in our community.
And thank you, viewers, for joining us. For more updates and more information about the elections, please join GTA Muslims Today. Assalamu alaikum.